Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into something you probably have in your kitchen right now, but you've likely never considered its journey.
We're talking about coconut oil.
Exactly. And we're going to follow some incredible source material that takes us inside the truly industrial architecture behind it.
It's a perfect case of the mundane hiding the massive, we see this clear oil in a jar, we use it, and we might picture a sort of small traditional press somewhere.
Right, a rustic image.
But the reality is that the global demand has scaled this up to a breathtaking, almost hyper-automated level.
And that's our focus. Our sources take us inside one of China's largest coconut oil factories. I mean, this is a complex that processes thousands of coconuts every single hour.
So our mission really is to trace that journey from the moment that hard, raw coconut arrives.
All the way until it becomes what the sources call pure gold.
And we're going to look at the specific technologies, the precision engineering, and just the sheer discipline it takes to process a natural product at this kind of overwhelming scale. It's this blend of nature and automation.
Okay, let's start at the very beginning, the arrival. The sources paint this really vivid picture. Before dawn, there's fog.
And these huge factory buildings just emerge from it. Then you see the trucks.
So many trucks moving in these like silent, orderly rows. Each one is carrying thousands and thousands of coconuts. It just immediately changes your whole perspective on a bottle of oil.
It really does, because when your raw material is measured in the tens of thousands per truck, you have to think of the facility less like a machine and more like a living system.
A living system, I like that. The logistics alone must be military grade.
Oh, absolutely. And as soon as they're unloaded, they hit the conveyor belts. You see workers in safety gear moving in perfect sync with the machines, but their role almost immediately shifts away from labor.
They become monitors, overseers.
Yeah. Exactly, because automation takes over quality control from the first second. The coconuts are lined up in what's called a perfect pattern, which is itself a feat of engineering.
And this brings us to the first checkpoint, right? The automated inspection.
Yes, and this part is just fascinating.
So we're not talking about a person looking them over.
No, forget that. We are talking about blinking sensors, high-speed scanners, and they test every single coconut that passes through.
So what are they actually looking for? I mean, a coconut's an actual thing, and they can't all be identical.
Well, they're looking for things the human eye would miss. They use spectral analysis to check shell density. They're looking for tiny, microscopic fissures that could mean it's spoiling inside.
Wow, before you can even see it or smell it.
Right. They're analyzing the texture for any sign of disease or damage. It's a full diagnostic scan on every single unit, and it's happening in a split second.
And if it finds one, a bad one.
It's immediately, automatically just shunted aside, diverted to a reject line. There's no human touch, no debate. Quality control is non-negotiable because the volume is just too high to do it any other way.
So the good ones move on. And they move from this silent, blinking, high-tech world of sensors to something much louder.
A very dramatic shift, yes. We move to the shell breaking phase.
And these are heavy steel machines. The sound must be incredible.
The source material calls it loud but controlled power. It's not just smashing them. It's a kind of finely tuned mechanical violence designed to crack that incredibly hard shell perfectly every time.
And the visual of that, the shell cracking open and you see that pure white meat inside.
That's the moment. The sources call it a perfect balance between the raw natural product and the unrelenting force of the machinery.
And the efficiency is key here. The shell fragments, they just drop away automatically.
Yep.
They fall into a recovery system below, while the clean white coconut meat continues forward on its own conveyor. It's almost entirely hands-off at this stage to reduce any risk of contamination.
Okay, so the shell is gone. Now the focus shifts entirely to purity.
Completely. The meat moves into the washing section.
And everything is stainless steel. Why such an extreme focus on hygiene here if they've already screened the coconut so carefully?
Because there's always a risk. The act of cracking the shell, as clean as it is, can introduce dust, tiny particles, even ambient bacteria. So this washing stage is a critical biological firewall.
A firewall, I see.
And it's not just regular water, it's purified water flowing at high pressure from every possible angle to make sure every surface is cleansed.
So when the source describes it as visually satisfying, it's not just about it looking clean, it's about seeing this quantifiable, measurable hygiene in action.
Exactly. And right after the wash, it's onto vibrating conveyors.
To shake off the excess water. They drain all the extra water because moisture is the absolute enemy of oil quality and, shelf stability. The meat has to be perfectly prepared for what comes next.
And this is where the path splits, which is a really critical moment. Some meat goes to drying chambers, some bypasses that.
Right. And that split determines what kind of oil it's going to become. The meat that goes directly to the cold press makes what we know as virgin coconut oil, the premium stuff.
It retains all the flavor and nutrients.
Exactly. But a huge amount goes down the other path into these massive drying chambers.
Why is that drying process so important?
Because it stabilizes the coconut meat, turning it into what's called copra. This is what's often used for refined oil. But to do it right, you need total control.
Control over the temperature, I assume. What happens if they get it wrong?
Well, if it's too hot, you start to break down the fatty acids. The oil goes rancid faster. The flavor is ruined.
And too low.
Too low, and it takes too long. You risk mold and bacteria growth. So inside these chambers, you have this precisely controlled warm air circulating very slowly, very gently. This stage, this drying stage, is really what defines the quality and longevity of the final product.
It sounds incredibly energy intensive.
It is, but it's a necessary cost for industrial scale quality. And once the meat is either perfectly dried or ready fresh, we get to the heart of the whole operation.
The extraction.
The cold press machine.
The massive cold press machines. This is where all that industrial power really comes to a head.
We're talking about incredible amounts of pressure here.
We are. Hydraulic pistons applying tons and tons of pressure. The